Hi, everyone. Jethro here from the Seymour team. And I've got Jerome Trail coming on the line in a little bit to talk about refinancing. That's what we're going to talk about today. And it's been a good holiday season. 2020 is wrapped up. I think everybody's a little bit thankful for that. 2021 looks like it's going to be a lot better. We've got vaccines on the horizon, very low mortgage rates, and there's some opportunities that people can take advantage of. So I'm just going to bring Jerome Trail on from the Mortgage Trail, and he's going to talk a little bit about refinancing mortgages and what's all involved in that and how to do it and what makes sense for you and your family potentially if it's something that you might want to consider. So you can add questions on this live podcast, and we'll certainly answer them if you have any. So reach out and tell us how you feel. I think there may be even a thumbs up somewhere, and we'll be able to work on that as well. So let's get Jerome on. Hey, Jerome, how's it going?
Morning, Jethro. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. It's been quite the year. How was your holiday?
It was fantastic. If you like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We spent a lot of time at the skating rink because that's the only thing that's been open.
Totally.
Yeah. So we're gonna get to a little bit of what's going on in the refinance world, but I thought maybe some of our viewers might be interested in knowing what's going on. It's a local Midtown market. We service sort of the broader Toronto area and specifically Midtown, both homes and condos. But to give a little sense as to what's going on in the market, I thought I'd share some sales statistics with everybody very quickly, and then we'll jump into the refinance stuff. So right now in Davisville Village, which is sort of Yonge and Eglinton area, and the other one that I'm going to show is Leaside, home values have gone up. Despite the pandemic, home values have gone up about 8.5% for all homes to just a little over 1.7 million. You can see the volume of transactions too. That actually also went up over the previous year, almost 9%. So it's kind of crazy that happened all in a pandemic. Leaside has a slightly different story. Their volumes went down, way down in terms of the actual number of transactions, down to 29. But because of that, they also went up 13%, which was the biggest winner in the Leaside market. And the average home sale price over there, which is sort of from Bayview to Laird, just north of Eglinton by Sunnybrook down to Moore Park and Bennington Heights, that went up about 8%, which is a little bit unique. And this gives you a sense. Sorry, Jerome, I'm just gonna hide you here for a sec. This gives you a little bit of a sense as to what those values are in the various types of homes. So 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, and for semis and detached in Davisville and Leaside. These are average prices, and this is a percentage of list price and days on market. If you need access to this kind of information, feel free to reach out to me anytime. We have this on our website, and we have a lot of information that can help people understand the marketplace and get a sense as to what's going on. So with that, let's get, I guess there's people are kind of going to want to know what's going on in 2021 too. So as realtors and mortgage brokers, we talk to a lot of people in the marketplace, and what we do is we try to get a sense as to what's going on, what people's temperament is, how people's appetite for buying and selling homes are. And what we're hearing right now from a lot of people is that there seems to be quite an appetite for buying homes and stepping up, especially people wanting to get out of the condos. And some of those people are having a little bit of trouble because of some of the rules in place with showing condos, and also people not necessarily wanting to be in condos. And there's quite a few for sale downtown as well. So getting into the housing market is still proving to be a bit challenging in terms of what is there for inventory. But we are seeing a whole bunch of people setting up for coming onto the market in 2021. So there will be a fair bit of inventory over the next 6 months that's going to come on. I would say probably more than last year, a little bit more. They only go up and down a little bit these days, but there will be a little bit more. So there's going to be a number of transactions. And we do find that the appetite out there for buyers is it's strong. There's a lot of buyers sort of chomping in the bit, and there always are this time of year, just because there hasn't been anything listed for the last 6 weeks or so. So we expect the first quarter into the second quarter to be pretty busy. I'm thinking Jerome is probably thinking the same thing. But if you are out there looking to buy, get your financial ducks in a row, because it will be somewhat competitive, and you will need to have your financing organized before you can go and place an offer. So with that, let's roll over to Jerome Trail here at the Mortgage Trail and have a quick chat about refinancing and see what we can do and how we can get some refinancing done. So Jerome, what does it mean to refinance a mortgage?
Well, as your slide just demonstrated, Jethro, the typical property in Midtown has appreciated approximately 8%. So as an example, and I'm going to touch upon your valuation, what it does to your net asset situation, and then how you tap into it on the refinance. They're all actually interconnected. Let's say, for instance, you have a $1.5 million property. It's appreciated by 8%, which you've just shown or demonstrated. So that's approximately $120,000. So let's pose a situation, for instance, either A, you're carrying a little bit of consumer debt. It's very common today for people to have a $15,000 or let's say a $20,000 Visa bill, particularly after the holidays. You're carrying a $30,000 car loan. Typically, those carry for 3% of the outstanding balance per month. So on $50,000 of consumer debt, that's $1,500 per month that you're using from cash flow to service that. Hence, if you take that $50,000, put it onto your mortgage, well, that carries for approximately $200 to $250 per month. So you have an immediate cash flow savings of about $1,250. So it's impactful. Everyone lives to cash flow, and that's really what the advantage is. We're in an exceptional period right now with low interest rates. And when you take in that, for instance, 2.5 years ago, we were getting an average 5-year fixed at 3.5%, where today it's almost half that. The monthly mortgage payments are dropping substantially.
What are the mortgage rates right now?
We've actually been holding steady for about the last 6 to 8 weeks. They're as low as, let's say, 1.6% on an insured purchase, or they're as high as, let's say, 1.9% on a refinance, depending upon the situation.
That's pretty good. So to borrow $100,000, you're looking at what, $425,000 a month,
yeah, just over $400 a month. Yeah,
$400 a month.
Yeah,
that's pretty inexpensive. So if someone's got a 3% mortgage right now, probably might make sense to take a look at, I guess, how much time they have left in their mortgage and how much they're paying monthly, and seeing if maybe they can shave off, $500 or $1,000, even depending on their situation.
People will incur a penalty, and we always advise people to reach out to their existing lender to find out exactly what that is, because we would just roll it into the new mortgage, so you're not actually out of pocket anything. But this is actually a time that people are, I'll say, educated on the impact of the lender's posted rate. And that's really what creates these incredibly large penalties for people to break out of. Our largest, and I think I shared it the last webinar that you and I had, I think it's $51,000. That's the largest penalty that we've incurred so far this year. So
51,000, but it made sense to do anyways.
It did. In fact, on that mortgage, and I'm going to estimate it was around $700,000 or $800,000, we ended up saving the clients approximately $1,500 per month in their debt servicing costs. And at the end of the month, or at the end of the fiscal year, that difference of $1,500 a month, or even $500 a month, it's substantial.
Those are some big numbers.
Yeah, they are. We all live to cash flow. And the one thing I do want to mention, Jethro, that no one ever talks about, and you just showed that 8% appreciation on your typical Midtown house, a semi and a fully detached. Well, 8% on $1.5 million is $120,000. that you've seen that net asset appreciation within 12 months. The typical person to actually save $120,000 annually, it's a very difficult thing to do. And then most importantly, it's tax-free in your owner-occupied property. So I'm incredibly bullish and optimistic on maintaining a strong real estate position if you can afford it. And that's a
great idea.
Just a fantastic example, which you've just illustrated.
Well, I'm glad I could help.
Yeah.
So talking about refinancing, so how does it actually work? So what are sort of some of the mechanics that have to take place in order to facilitate saving those dollars and being able to reallocate them if need be?
Yeah. So really, it comes down to, we run your credit, we'll see where you are, but then the two factors are, can we income qualify? Are we able to qualify with the federal government's qualifying ratios? And then secondly, the loan to value. Do you have the room available? You've just demonstrated with an 8% appreciation, if the house is, let's just say, worth $1 million, well, there's up to $80,000 we could tap into on an annual basis. These are substantial numbers. So it's a great opportunity for people to look at that if they're carrying any sort of consumer debt.
Right. And so mortgage rates right now on a refinance, would they be typically around that 1.9%?
They are. The most client-friendly lenders. And when we say client-friendly lender, we're talking about a lender that does not have an inflated posted rate. So when you're encountering that mortgage penalty, you're not going to see one of these $50,000, $60,000 penalties. It's going to be much more palatable. And anyway, they're all priced right around 1.9 to 2%.
Okay, well that might make sense if you're into something with 3 or 4%.
Oh yeah.
Which things were what, 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago?
Yeah, 2.5 years ago. I have several files of people we put into files, let's say 2.5 years ago, even 2 years ago. It's a 5-year fixed at 3.74, 3.79. They're going to incur a $30,000 penalty on an $800,000 mortgage. However, their monthly nut is going to drop by almost $1,000. So it's significant.
Yeah, that's substantial. And are these on like 25-year amortization mortgages?
So we always encourage people to look at the longer amortization, the 30-year, just because it will drop their monthly payment down.
Yeah,
and
that went away for a while, and it did come back.
Well,
is there anything beyond 30 years?
There's one lender that allows a 35-year amortization. However, Jethro, you pretty much have to walk on water for that lender to agree to the 35-year am, and they will also charge you a premium for it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. Well, that's good. And so on the ins and outs of it is qualifying is somewhat the same as it would be for a new mortgage as well. So you'd have to have your debt service ratios in line, which currently are in the 700s. If your credit scores are in your 700s.
Well, if you're self-employed, the golden number we want to hit on your beacon score is 720. That's the ideal range, and that will allow us to access best products. The minimum threshold is about 680. Okay. But we need a main applicant that's essentially right around 700. Now, the qualifying ratios that you're referring to, they are 39 and 44 on the GDS and TDS, the gross debt servicing and total debt servicing. What does that mean? We can allocate up to 39% of the household income towards all housing costs, which are your mortgage payment, so principal and interest, property taxes, utilities, and then if you're in a condo or in a townhouse, we have to add in those monthly maintenance fees as well.
And can you reduce that number with any kind of rental income? Say you rent out a basement apartment or something. Are the lenders looking at that in any way?
They are. If you have a lease, then we're able to use up to 50% of that income to help on the qualifying ratios.
So that's if you have a lease, but if you're month to month, that doesn't hold as much water?
It's doable. There are a couple of nuances. When we order the Pardon?
There's always nuances.
There are. The mortgage and lending world is a bit of an opaque process. And as we move the client through the file, they have a very good understanding of what the lender's looking at. Anyway, to answer your question, Jethro, there are ways that we can bolster income on a file. And for instance, basement or rental income, we're able to usually allocate or use up to 50%. If it's month to month, we may use the old, mature, or expired lease, and then perhaps look at the last 3 or 6 month bank account statements just to prove that income stream.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great. That could help people in those situations. And for those that are in the condo world, they do have to include the maintenance fees and the heat and the hydro as well. So there's a number of things to consider, but I guess primarily you want to get your beacon score, your credit score, as high as possible. And I think we talked in another video about that and some of those things you can do in order to elevate that. And one of those things is to pay your debt and don't let your credit cards overrun on a monthly basis. Try to pay them down each month. And if you want specifics, there's a number of people we can set you up with in order to help dial that in. I forgot to mention at the beginning of this that we have somewhat of a large announcement, and that we're for specifically first-time home buyers, and those home buyers are going to be very happy this spring. Let me just push this up here. So Jerome, what's going on with first-time home buyers in the mortgage world?
Well, last year, Jethro, the federal government had a large initiative called the First-Time Home Buyer Incentive, where they allowed first-time home buyers to go up to 4 times their household income in income qualifying, whereby the federal government will match the down payment. Anyway, the federal government has improved this program in 2 ways. A, they've allowed you to go from 4 times household income up to 4.5. And then secondly, as opposed to limiting the qualifying income to 120,000, they've actually increased that to 150,000. What does this mean in qualifying terms? They've actually allowed the bottom or the top threshold to go from approximately 500,000 to just over 700,000. So the details are going to be announced a little bit later in the spring by the federal government. They're trying to give us a bit of good news, and they're trying to let us know that they do have an eye on maintaining this fantastic real estate run that we've enjoyed for so long. And anyway, I'm looking forward to those further details. But bottom line, that opening price point or entry-level condo or property in the GTA just got an extreme boost as far as support goes by the federal government.
Well, that's good for those that are trying to sell. There's a number of properties on the market in that space that that have been struggling over the last probably 6 to 12 months now. So hopefully they'll get a bit of a boost. And we do expect the market to be pretty busy, and this is going to be one of the reasons why. Low interest rates are the biggest lever that we have. That big lever is certainly a propellant to getting deals done and moving the housing market. So from what I hear, they're not going to raise it anytime soon. So it's going to be a pretty busy spring, and even busier come that full, I guess, all the details on that announcement. Now, it's important to note that you could still buy a home now and close later in the year to accommodate for that. So that's kind of helpful. If you're out looking for a home in the near term, in particular a condo that's at $500,000 to $700,000 mark, now is going to be a very good time to do that before this sort of kicks in. Because once it kicks in, it's going to push everything right up to that $700,000 threshold, especially those between the 5 and the 7 mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
agreed.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
So, well, that's what's been going on. What else is going on anything else we should know for the mortgage market with refinancing?
Not really, Jethro. We're in the office every day. We're fortunate that they've declared the real estate office to be an essential service, and thank goodness they have. If I was buying $1 million property, I would certainly want my realtor and my mortgage broker to have access to all the information that they need to get the deal done. So let's hope this continues. Very optimistic about the vaccine announcements. I'm so happy to see the government really ramping up that effort. So let's hope for an end to this sooner rather than later.
Much better 2021. Everybody's looking forward to it. I know we're all locked in for now, but certainly, being an essential service, people do have to move, and we are here to help. We obviously take all the COVID protocols very seriously and make sure we're doing what we have to do in order to stay safe and keep our clients safe, and keep our buyers and sellers safe. So with that, I want to say thank you very much, Jerome. You're always a great help. A lot of insight into mortgages, mortgage market, and how to get things done. We really appreciate you coming on today.
My pleasure, Jethro. Thank you for having me, and hopefully we'll be able to get together at some point soon.
Looking forward to a nice summer this year. All right, man. You take care.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you again. It was great getting out there and chatting with everybody and bringing you up to speed on refinancing for mortgages. If you are thinking about refinancing, Jerome's a good guy and he'll be able to help you out. There are a number of lenders out there. Jerome knows his stuff, and it's worth investigating if you're feeling like your monthly nut is a big one and you want to look at the options of refinancing. Now's a good time of year to do it. It's a new year. Interest rates are very, very low, so might be worth looking into. If you've got any questions about the real estate market as a whole, or any of the local pockets, the local neighborhoods in the GTA, certainly reach out to me. So we'll be able to help you and help guide you, either myself or someone on my team. Anyways, thanks again, and look forward to connecting with you at a future date.